Okay, I think we're live. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and Facebook page. My name is Sarah. Today I have a guest with me. He's a very, very special guest. He's a good friend of mine. His name is Brett from Learn Thai from a White Guy. I got it right this time. Welcome, Brett.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here.
Today, what are we going to be talking about today, Brett?
I figured we'd talk about some of the trickier sounds for beginners to pronounce. Not just beginners, just a bunch of sounds that every foreigner has trouble with, almost every foreigner has trouble with when they learn Thai.
But before we get right to that, just want to make an announcement. We have some special game for our audience, right? What are we going to do with them today?
So we're going to talk about some of these sounds that we've chosen to help you out with. And then if possible, we'd like to get 1 or 2 volunteers towards the end of the talk. And what we'll do is we'll have you try to say the sounds, and we'll try to correct you and see if we can get you to say it correctly, if we have any brave volunteers to come on camera with us. So you would need to be somewhere fairly quiet to where you could be heard and you had a microphone or preferably a camera. A camera helps because we need to be able to see your mouth so we can explain what you're doing wrong.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested, just send me an email to my email info@thaivithsarah. I'm gonna put it right here, or you can just text me on my Facebook page inbox. Okay, Thai with Sarah, and then we're gonna.
Or also you can send me messages as well too. Because we have to get your email to add you into this.
Oh no, I got it wrong.
What?
I got my email wrong. Let me type again.
You got your own email wrong? How's that possible?
All right, with Sarah, just with. Too excited. Because we're gonna have real people joining us live. So if you guys,
if somebody's brave, we'll be really nice, and we will improve your Thai pronunciation in about 3 minutes or 5 minutes. If there's some sound you can't say correctly, I can totally help you fix it right now or towards the end of this talk.
Yeah, so you get 2 teachers to help correct your pronunciation. Don't miss this opportunity, okay? If you are camera ready and you're not shy on camera. Good afternoon, Alina. Hi, how are you? Anyway, so Brett, where are you right now?
I'm in Chiang Mai.
Okay. You pronounced Chiang Mai correctly. What is the usual common pronunciation for Chiang Mai by?
In what language? I think most people that stay here, they probably say something like Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai?
I feel like that's what I hear people say mostly, but the actual pronunciation in Thai is Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai. Is it
It's got the E vowel.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, Thai has 3. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, so for people who don't know, that there's 3 what I call complex vowels in Thai, which is basically just a diphthong, which means there's 2 vowels being pronounced together. And the Chiang in Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai is one of these sounds. And it's already in a bunch of words, like beer in Thai. How do you say beer in Thai?
Bia, not beer, right?
Bia.
Bia.
Right.
Bia.
So we're not pronouncing the R, and it's just the B sound plus the ya. Now, the interesting thing about this particular vowel is you really only have to say an E, and then you open your mouth into the rest of the sound. So you say ya. That's all you're doing to say the sound correct in Thai.
Would you say that
iya
in Thai is close to like British iya, like bia, because in British accent or pronunciation they don't do rhotic R, right? Like bia, but still not like
it can be, but there's so many accents in the UK that it's dangerous to say that, because there could be a person that doesn't say anything close to that sound, and you don't want them to think they're correct. Because like the thing about Thai vowels is, if you go all around the country, everyone says the E vowel the same way, and if you're not saying it that way, you're saying it wrong. And you can't say it's your accent, because that's not how Thai works. Thai has a lot of vowel sounds, so you need to figure out what the 67 million people in Thailand are saying, and you need to copy them. Right. And in the case of this vowel, it's super easy, like mia, ia, bia, dia. Just practice with some letters first, and when you get comfortable with the vowel, then you can get into like chiang.
Okay, I think someone knows the abbreviation of Chiang Mai, which is CM. Chuxi. Hello. Jonas.
Yeah.
สวัสดีค่ะ Okay, all right. Before we talk more about vowels, let's talk about consonants first. The tricky consonant sounds that most Thai learners have problem with. Like, what do you think those are?
I mean, I remember that ngongu was. I thought it was impossible when I first got to Thailand. I was like, I'll never be able to say this sound. Like, I remember, I just didn't get it at all. I would do what most people do. You just turn it into like an N sound when it's at the beginning of a syllable. But then once I read an explanation of how the sound worked, it was easy. I figured it out in a couple minutes, and then I just practiced it a little bit, and then it became easy. And I think anybody can learn how to say that sound within a couple of minutes if they just spend some time focusing on what's happening inside your mouth.
Okay, can we try now?
Jonas talks about, actually, Jonas, we're going to talk about those sounds today too. All right, so why don't you say it first? You're the native speaker.
Say so my ngongu is nga. It's nasal. Nga. I feel it in my nose.
Right. Ngongu. So to find the NG sound, you first want to know like what's happening in your mouth when you say an N. So what I usually tell people to do is hum an N sound. Can you hum an N sound, Sarah?
Is that
Open your mouth. Open your mouth a little bit. You don't have to close your mouth for an N. And think about where your tongue is. Where's your tongue when you say an N?
At the very like touching the palate.
Yeah. Well,
am I right?
If people don't know that word, just tell them like approximately, like, is it in the middle of your mouth, or the back of your mouth, or the front of your mouth?
Like at the back.
Hold the sound. Sing it. Say.
I mean,
hold it for like 2 seconds. Hold the whole. All right, now move to an G from there. What's your tongue doing? Can you figure it out? When you're saying N, if this is the top of your mouth, you're when you say the N sound, it's kind of up a little bit in the front half.
Back. Yeah, right?
Right.
You move a little bit.
But what your tongue does to switch to an NG is it's the back of your tongue kind of bunches up into the back of your throat.
That's right.
So if you can find the N and you can hum it, you can move to an NG, and you can also hum an NG sound. Like M, N, and NG sounds, they're all hummable, which means that air is passing through your mouth as you're saying these sounds.
I mean, they both those three are nasal sounds too, right? M, N, and ng. Yeah. So,
right. So the other way to try to find the sound is to just say words in English that end in ing. So singing is a common example, and what you do is if you can't figure out from the N to the NG sound, go from singing, and try to hold that last bit. And once you can hold it for a moment, throw another vowel at the end of that word. It doesn't have to make sense. So singing, 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 singing. It doesn't matter what the vowel sound is. If you know a couple Thai vowels, then just do those.
Usually that's how my students, like, they have to do the word sing first. For example, if I want them to say something like ngan, right? Work, ngan, I'll tell them to say sing ngan first to get the feeling first. Sing ngan, like sing, and then just drag the sound.
Yeah. Well, but you just by humming it is what you're doing. Singing. And then what you're really trying to do is find out what's happening in your mouth so you can replicate it all the time. So what you can do is, once you can kind of do it, what'll happen is you'll be able to do it sometimes. Like maybe right now, if you try it for a minute, you'll get it once or twice, and then you'll try it again, it won't work. You just keep coming back, and the more often you get it, the easier it'll become. And once you've sort of built up that muscle memory in your tongue and your mouth, it'll become easy, and then you'll forget you ever practiced it.
Muscle memory. That's a cool word.
Yes. It's the same like you play piano. Like, you're not telling where your finger to go every time. It becomes automatic. So the same thing is happening in your mouth.
Awesome. That's a great way to look at it.
But also, like, if you have to, think about if you use your left hand or your offhand to do something, it feels weird at first, and that's what's happening when you're making a sound in your mouth that you've never made before. It feels weird, so you don't know how to kind of push your tongue in there, or like when you try to start typing Thai for the first time and you getting your fingers to go in the direction you want. It's you have to train the muscle memory up to do that, so it becomes automatic. It doesn't take that much work. But you have to get it right once in order to get there.
Yeah, you have to get it right first, and then practice, keep practicing. I think some of my students it takes about a few months for them. Some people just get it done right in like 2 hours. It depends. I don't really okay, you get it wrong. I don't really have them saying over and over again, over and over and over. It's boring.
That doesn't help.
At some point, you're gonna move on, and then you try to do it again the next day, right? So it depends. Yeah. So are we done with ngongu? I think someone asked about tao.
Yeah, we'll come back to that later if somebody wants to try to pronounce it in camera. But we can move on to the next sound.
And
if somebody has a question about, I see that.
Tao, popla.
Go ahead.
Do you see the comment?
All right. Yeah, I see.
Tao is unaspirated.
Somebody wants to know how to roll the ra. Right. I thought that was a middle class consonant, and like all middle class consonants, it has no aspiration. So I don't really want to talk about linguistics because you don't need to learn linguistics to learn a language. But this one word aspiration is really useful for Thai because there's a bunch of letters that are aspirated, which just means there's a strong blast of air when you say the letter. So in English, if I say people, the P in people or person in English has a strong blast of air. So if I have a piece of paper in front of my mouth and I say any of these words in English, people, you can see it move. All right?
Yes.
And for the tao, it's a T sound, but your tongue is going to be pushed up against the top, behind the top teeth. So in English, when you say a T, your tongue's quite a bit further back. For this tao, it's close to the teeth. And what you're doing is you kind of push off with your tongue into the vowel sound. So if you throw an ah sound on there, you get ba. Try to say that.
Yeah. But if they cannot do it, can they start with like star? Add the S.
I don't think you need to. They just have to pay attention to where your tongue is going. And if you're not saying it right, like if your tongue doesn't come out between it doesn't come past your teeth. It has to stay. Pretend like your tongue is your feet and you're in the pool and you're kicking off the wall. Don't slip underneath the teeth. If you slip underneath the teeth, you're going to say a TH sound, which is different.
But is tao sounds the same as to stop, like the word teeth stop in English? Is it the same? Or not really the stop, stand. It's not the same?
It's not, no, because that T, your tongue is further back.
But tao is what? It's right behind the teeth.
Yes.
Stop. Stop. Close enough, right? Close enough. Close enough to like get a feeling of tao.
There's a different, an inch of difference in your mouth makes a totally different sound. So the position is very important. So for tao, you can't see my tongue because it's hiding behind the top of my back teeth. Whatever.
Tia. Okay, how about popla?
Same thing. Papa is just an unaspirated P. So remember when I was saying people, party. When we say party in Thai, we say party, which uses fish, papa, and tao. So it's the unaspirated P and the T. They are similar to what we have in English, but there's no strong blast of air. You're still breathing, so you don't want to like tense up and cut off your hair, which people like to do when they're trying to figure this out. You're still breathing, but there's not a blast of air. So for what I usually tell people to do for the fish is to say hippo in English, just hippo, not like the whole word, hippo. Because when we say hippo in English, most people say it unaspirated, the second syllable. So you will, if you put your hand in front of your mouth and the problem is when you say the H, it's going to be aspirated for most people. But if you listen to the second syllable in hippo and you put your hand in front of your mouth, hippo, and then compare that to like party, you should feel a very different level of breath power when you say these two syllables?
I usually use the word Spain.
Spain, Spain,
But
Spain.
Spain.
Yeah, that's fine.
Spain.
But Spain, 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 spick and span.
Spain. You cannot say Spain or
Spain.
Spain. It's impossible. You cannot say Spain. It's hard. It's like the nature of the sound won't go together.
What,
Spain. You cannot say that.
Well,
Spain.
that's because you're coming from a Thai sound system which doesn't have it, so you add this extra in there.
What about is there any English words you can do like sa and then p aspirated like together with the s sound? I don't think so.
Severe. You can do it, but it doesn't sound natural.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
yeah, you're right. So SP words in English will get you close to the sound, but ultimately you want to get away from having an S in there.
Right, right, and just
so
do
that's why hippo. If you can go hippo, 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 and just find that bow, 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 and then you got the sound. Bow, bia.
Hippo, hippo. How about we're gonna go for vowels later, okay, Jonas? For and but let's talk about Rauria first. Someone asked about Rauria. Here, Jordan Kelly said he cannot roll his
All right,
R.
so what I would say about rolling the R is you don't really need to be able to roll the R because
we don't do R. Conversation.
Normal speech, you never roll the R. What most people do is they flap their tongue up one time, maybe twice, like rien or rien, where there's just like a quick flap, but you're not really going all the way up and down. And then if you go like banok, like if you go like down deep down the soy, or you go like outside of a city, it's just going to turn into an L.
Oh yeah, always. Dude, most of the time.
Not always, but most people. If you go, most people are not going to be like corrupt. Like that's true. You're not going to hear that much. You'll hear it on TV because it's polite, it's formal. There's like a level of prestige added to that sound. Mm-hmm. But in normal daily conversation, if you're talking to friends or colleagues, you don't ever have to do that. And like even if you're talking to your boss, it's fine to say chap, or you can say chap without the trill. It's fine. So like I would say, down the road, it's not a bad idea to learn it, but I would say it's not very important. No one's gonna. No one cares if you can't say that sound perfectly, Jordan.
Yeah, it's just a proper way to say it, but like we don't say it anyways. It's different from like
what does
English.
Proper mean, right?
No, like I mean when like for me, because I was always taught by my teachers, Thai teachers, to R. They always corrected me before, and I know that it was not important, right? But at the same time, as a teacher myself, it will be so wrong of me to say don't do R at all. There are, but
Thai people were taught that way, like that's the right way to say the sound. Yeah, so when a Thai teacher teaches a foreigner, they're trying to teach you the right way. But what I do is teach you how people actually talk.
Yeah, you can see it that way too.
And it's like people think that there's a way that you're supposed to talk, but it's never the same as the way that they actually talk, which is very frustrating when you're trying to get good at a language fast, and most of the information you're getting is not really accurate. So I always try to bypass that, and it's very frustrating. Yeah, I'm studying Vietnamese right now, and I'm having the same problems that I have with Thai because I know what they're saying. I know that they're telling me the stuff to say, and then I ask like, "Do you ever say this?" And they're like, "No." Then I'm like, "Why are we even talking about it?"
Yeah, so, I think the difference between trill R in Thai and the rhotic R in English is a rhotic R in English cannot be dropped, right? In Thai, it can be dropped. Because we don't really trill R. In English, it's like you cannot say like, what's the word? Like broad. You say a bod, it's gonna be wrong. Like but in Thai,
I feel like when I say like most raw words, like I'm kind of building up the vibration, and I'm kind of like flapping the tongue one time. Rien.
Rien.
Like there's one flap, but it's not. I'm not doing the full trill unless I'm trying to be silly.
I don't do full trill unless I'm singing. If I sing, then I do like a proper trill R. It sounds nicer. Yeah, like like
sing it as right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, let's move on to what are there? Let's go over vowels maybe because we cover most tricky sounds already for consonants. Yeah. Shall we do our
All right, like a couple minutes ago, we had Mo asked if the vowel for sit and bud is the same. And if you listen to me say those words, you'll know that they're not the same at all. Sit and bud. We'll talk about those vowels. You saw that one? Yeah.
Bud. No, is it the same?
No, I said they're not the same.
They're not the same. Yeah.
Oh, he's saying I hear different. Yeah, they're totally different. They don't even look the same. There's different pieces going on.
Can you explain the vowel for sit, Brett? Might they cool whatever?
It's a short A. I call the thing on top the shortener because it's just letting you know that the vowel it's attached to is being shortened. So it's got the sit. It has the A vowel, which is normally if it was just. Can we bring up something with like an A vowel?
Yeah, you mean the
yeah, if you want to just put it in a doc or something, or should we or type it? I don't know.
Okay.
All right, so the A vowel is just like a long A. But what you'll find is when that vowel shows up with ending consonants that have a tone mark or that have the shortener, the sound gets shortened into more of like eh. So sit. Set, just this particular word just happens to be spelled funny. Most of the time, words don't look like that.
And this one, you're basically,
you're basically ignoring the raw, and the jadan at the end is being pronounced like it was like all the middle class consonants, just like a T. Yeah, basically like that. Sit. So it's a short eh, like a short version of the A vowel, which becomes like eh, sit, which is it rhymes with jet, which is 7. So why don't you type 7? That's jet.
Yeah, you want 7, right?
Well, yeah, which also has the shortener on top. So like it's not jet, it's jet.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, Thai distinguishes between long vowels and short vowels, and you need to be saying the correct length for it to be easily understood.
Yeah. It changed the form. It's gonna be another session for this one though, but like
yeah, they have to know the first one to make sense of the second one, and so I don't know if it's
okay. Let's move on to.
All right, what's the next sound?
Let's move on to sort of yeah, the vowels that we want to talk about. Right? And
All right, this is the vowel that everyone loves.
Let's do first. Then we can do later.
All right.
Okay.
It's very far back in your throat. It's I always called this this one like a gurgling sound, because when you're gargling or when you're like glug 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 glug, or if you're trying to like make a laugh sound like Popeye, it's all back in the same place. So I find that it's easier to add something at the end like or to try to get it right. So think about when you're gargling or like it's very far back in your throat. You gotta constrict your throat a little bit.
So
almost to the point where you're gonna make yourself vomit. And if you do vomit, you probably said it correctly.
Oh no. So the way I teach my students is I said it's like you go number 2, like when we say to kids like you push like that.
Well, actually is the verb to like to go to the poop.
Number 2, yeah.
Yeah.
And once you can do then you can do later, right? Like
Hopefully.
This one.
Yeah. So is also constricted in the back. It's in the same position. It's just longer version. So instead of saying and when you're closing off your throat at the end of the sound, whereas you're holding it open.
Chew. That's a word to be named. Chew.
Yeah. Chew. Name.
Chew. Yeah.
It helps to kind of like widen your mouth to find the space.
Chew.
But like, yeah.
Chew.
When you're trying to say a new sound, it's a good idea to exaggerate your expression and stuff. But eventually you won't have to do that. But just to, there's a plane.
Oh, that's okay. How about like Don Mueang sound? So you have to do first, right? And then
All right. So
Ua.
remember we talked about Chiang Mai. So Chiang Mai has the I vowel. So you start by saying I and you open your mouth into a. I. So the vowel in Don Muang is the same thing, but we're starting with and we open our mouth into the a. So Muang, Duan, Don Muang.
Don Muang.
So if you can say the first sound right and you can open your mouth, you can say the whole thing correctly. It's not hard. It just takes a couple practice. You practice it a couple times to get the idea, and then once you've said it correctly a couple times by yourself, when you're out and trying to use the words, you're going to say it wrong sometimes, but know when you say it wrong and self-correct. This is how you get better at sounds fast. You pay attention to what you're saying, and you be aware when you're saying things wrong, and then you try to fix it. It does take some effort and observation on your part, but it's not actually hard.
Okay, more diphthongs, please.
There's only 3.
That. Yeah.
There's only one left. What the hell is that?
How about we already covered already.
All right, how about
let's do I first.
Remember we have I. Well, is that hard? I feel like most languages have an I.
Like I love you. So this one we're gonna say but not like like in English.
Okay. Like in duh and buh and tuh. Super easy. You start by saying open your mouth. And then slowly close it part way. And you found it.
Okay. Thank you, Academy of Decent Guys. I like the name.
No such thing.
Very interesting conversation, guys. Awesome, Academy of Decent Guys. Alina said you can relax your tongue and next of it will vibrate to R. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's a good way to talk about it.
Okay, then any other vowels you want to talk about? Let's see what I have. That's it. I have and do we use a lot in Thai script? Hua. สวย right? สวย
Oh yeah, สวย. It's probably the most useful. So สวย has that same complex vowel, which means it's got 2 distinct parts. You start by saying oo, and you open your mouth into an a. Ooh-ah. We tend to try to transliterate it with a W because it has this W sound, but the W is just coming from the fact that your mouth is already round, and then you're still making sound while it's round. Ooh-ah, ooh-ah. So we have iya, ooh-ah, ooh-ah. All I'm doing is opening my mouth from the other sound. And if you can do that fast, you can say this thing perfectly. So for beautiful, we're going to start. We can get rid of the Y at the end and the beginning. You just go suwa, suwa, and then suwai. So we have to flatten back out into an E because there's a Y at the end. And then it's a rising tone. So suwai.
I have a question for you, Brett. I have a question. I wonder if you see yak here, the final consonant, as the vowel sound or consonant sound. I mean, my transliteration is I, because it makes more sense to me. But like some people, for you, what do you think?
I don't use transliteration, so there's not like a thing.
You see it as a
Y is a semi-vowel. I would say it's a vowel. It's a vowel here. It's a vowel.
Vowel, right? Yeah. Okay. สวย. Okay. Someone asked about Sara vs versus Sara O. And O.
Are you sure they mean or are they trying to say like? Oh, are they trying to say O and O?
Yeah.
Maybe.
The difference, you mean? It's O is O. O.
Right.
Like not.
I mean, there may not be. I don't know.
But O.
Can you clarify what vowel you mean the first one, Jonas?
Yeah, Jonas, can you clarify? He said something like, "I prefer to use Y since it's you prefer to call it consonant." That's good. I think it makes more sense to me to call it like to think of it as like a vowel sound. I think
It is a vowel sound. A consonant is when you stop the airflow in your mouth, and you're not stopping the airflow with a Y. It's called a semivowel because it acts as a consonant sometimes in English and in Thai, but when it's in an ending sound like that, it's totally a vowel.
Got it. All right. So no one actually sent me emails to join our live stream. I'm so sad, guys. Don't you want to be on my live stream and talk to me live? Talk to me and Brett live. Anyone's interested, let us know. We're gonna bring you on live stream and correct your pronunciation. If you don't mind being a guinea pig.
Yeah, if anybody has any sound questions, please let us know well before we why so many words that end with dot? I read as if they I mean the Y doesn't really matter at all. It's just I mean, there's a reason. It's because those words are coming from another language, and sometimes those ending sounds would be okay. I always think of them as like when you take two train cars and they have that little connector that holds the cars together. So in Thai, sometimes you'll have these vowels that will connect to other words sometimes, and then it's like the hooks come down to connect the cards together. So I would need to see a specific word, but Jonas wants to do it.
Jonas wants to do it. Okay, Jonas, can you give me your email? I'll send you the link, and I'll delete your email later on my live chat.
And they have that little connector that holds the cars together. So in Thai, sometimes you'll have these vowels that will connect to other words sometimes. And then it's like the hooks come down to
sorry.
Connect the cards.
I opened another chat. It's like keeps saying sorry. I didn't realize that.
Okay.
Chat.
I was wondering why I was myself.
Why do you keep saying the same thing? Jonas want to be on our live stream, so send me an email, please. I'll send you or you can leave your email here. Brett, you have any other words that has dot E you can think of right now? Chat. Yeah, relative. Yeah. Relative.
I think yad is coming from, I'm pretty sure yad's coming from Sanskrit. So in Sanskrit, it's probably, and I don't know about cha. Cha might be coming from Pali, or I'm not sure. But yad is probably from Sanskrit. And in Sanskrit, it might be like yati or yata. Like there may be other vowels that can be attached to that to mean other words, like connect it together. That's usually what's happening when there's extra pieces, like jan, like in one dan. The jan has like a bunch of extra crap at the end.
Yeah, that's right.
So someone asked in Sanskrit, the word is like jan cha, like you would pronounce all those words, like all the letters at the end in the word that it comes from.
Someone asked about hate. This one.
About what?
Hate.
Hate.
Like why is that? Oh. Why is that? Oh. Can you explain that, Brett? It's not a Thai word, right? It's from Pali Sanskrit.
I don't know the origin of this word, but
because usually like Thai.
I can't think of any other word. Like the way I look at this is there's the handful of exceptions that look really crazy, and there's probably some reason why it ended up that way, but it doesn't matter at all to you. You just got to know that particular word is spelled that way, and you just got to get used to it. Like you can ask everyone in Thailand, and I'm sure most of them have no idea why it's spelled that way, but it is. If you come across, what you'll occasionally find is that sometimes there's patterns, and it's just like in English where we're like when you have a word that's like OU, you know it probably comes from French.
Yeah, and it is
so
like
it's the same kind of thing. You see patterns when things are spelled with the crazy letters or have weird spellings. It's almost always going to come from Sanskrit or Pali, and sometimes Cambodian.
Okay, Jane asked, is the tone important if there are no other words with the same spelling? What does that mean?
Yes. I think they mean if there's no other words with like that tone, I assume what they mean. Can you like not care about the tone? I would say no, you still need to care about the tone because it'll sound weird.
I see. Yeah, you're gonna sound weird. Yeah. So,
Like,
Jonah, are you gonna be on our live stream or not? Where's your email? He doesn't send me anything yet.
can you direct message them?
Let me see. No, I can't. Okay, I'm gonna send you the link in my chat, and anyone can just hop on. I can take 10 people.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's do that.
Well, you can mute people if it gets crazy. So like saying like
they would do that though. I don't
the
think
tones
I
in a
think
tone of like
a lot of
in a
them
tone of language.
I think a lot of them are like shy, so I don't think they would, you know. Okay, so I'm gonna send a link. Anyone want to hop in here? And then you're gonna be on our live stream. Oh, Jonah sent already. Where is it? Oh, that's so exciting! Someone wants to be on our live stream to do it together with us. Where is it?
Brave souls.
Do you see anyone popping yet? Jonas, we're waiting. Maybe he sent it to you, Brett, because he hasn't sent it to me.
No, nobody sent me anything.
Oh, he's here. There we go. Hello. Welcome.
Hey, what's up?
Awesome.
I've already sent my Gmail on the comment section. I think you didn't see it.
Okay. I didn't see, but we're glad you're here finally. So, which sound you have problems with? Let us know. Tell us.
The question a while ago about to, tao, and popla.
Okay. You want us to help you? Can you try pronouncing those, and then we can.
It sounded pretty good when he said it just now.
Yeah.
Say it again. Say it. Oh, that's good. But yeah, I'm okay with that. Your tongue is in the right place.
The other. Majakrat, Philippine Cup.
Okay. Okay.
And the other sound is popla. Popla. Sometimes
it's a long
popla.
Popla.
And the other
pretty good already.
Do you have that sound? Do you have the sound in Tagalog where you have a P with no strong blast of air? Like, what does your P sound like?
We have actually pamilya. Pamilya. There's no air in that sound.
There's no air, right? So it's not like in English where you say where there's like a really strong air.
Yes.
So pamilya.
There's no air comes from pamilya. Right.
So I think you can probably say it already. For pa, it's just blah. It's ba, and then there's the L. So and then the long ah vowel. So blah. Just make sure to hold the vowel sound for a moment, because like that ah in Thai it's a little bit longer than you want to say it. So like you have to hold it for a moment, not like a whole second, but long enough that it's alive. Like blah.
Can I say it again?
Can you say the NG? That's good.
Ngongu. We have NG in Tagalog, so it's kind of easy for us.
Right. Easy. Okay, great.
Lastly would be the sara like ngun and dun. Is it correct?
Okay, so for ngun and dun, to find the sound, start with your mouth open really wide, and then slowly close it a little bit, and it's about right there. Dun,
ngun. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So if you lose it, just start it again. So you can start by saying like and
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's all, right? You got?
Where are you studying Thai? Are you studying Thai by yourself, Jonas?
Chai Kap. I only study on my own. But I have some Thai friends, so they try to help me to speak Thai sometimes.
Mm.
All right, great.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Jonas. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
ขอบคุณครับ
Awesome. That's fun.
Great.
That was great. Who else want to join us?
I don't know, maybe
that
Jonas will make everyone too shy because he could pretty much say all the sounds already.
No, right? So someone asked, what happens to the tones when singing and whispering in Thai? Yeah, I just got a chance to sing an original, like translated song from English. So I find it quite hard to do like tones in Thai too when it comes to melody, because some
I have a
notes.
theory.
What?
I have a theory on this because I've always
Theory?
noticed that many
Tell us.
songs, what people do is whenever possible, they'll follow the tone format of the words. But there's more freedom to change it if you need to in the context of the song.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, what does
Like,
that mean?
So when possible, when you're writing a song and someone sings a song, they're going to follow the tones as they are when you were spoken most of the time. But there's more freedom to change it if you need to.
Yeah, but like for me, when I sang that original song, it was originally in English and then translated into Thai. When I use a word like sang, rising tone, I cannot really do it in some.
Okay, yeah.
I have to change.
Yeah.
It's really tricky. Like I would say mid tone is easier to do. Like you can always do anything with mid tone. Like bye, 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 bye. You can do anything.
Yeah. Okay.
But for like sang,
that's
right? Like rising tone, it's like sang, sang, sang. It's a cut. It's kind of sounds weird.
Yeah.
You know. So I think lyrics in Thai is harder. It's harder when you compose it. And whispering, I'm not quite sure what that means. Whispering in Thai. Yeah, we still do tones, right, Brett? When we whisper, when we talk in Thai. Like,
yes.
Brett,
yeah, you do. You still use tones. Yeah. You gotta remember that like tones are metadata for the words, so they're just attached to the meaning. So to remove the tone from the word becomes something strange to a native Thai speaker. Like it doesn't necessarily even trigger the actual word. It's metadata that's attached to the meaning of the word. Just like intonation in a non-tonal language adds color and emotion to a sentence. Like Thai, I mean, Thai does that with particles.
Question for you: Where can one get more assistance with ear training?
I mean, I have a series of online courses which teach you all this stuff.
And he got a special.
We'll give you a link at the end of this.
Today, if you sign up,
I'll give everyone a discount who stuck around.
Yeah. We have you have code for them, right?
Yeah. Well, we can give it at the end if they stick around.
Okay. ขอบใจเด้อครูซาร่ากับเบรด very
yeah, I saw that. All right, Mark asked, how do you
trouble with
does he mean lao?
Probably lao, not liao. Lao, yeah, like already. The word already.
I remember having a lot of trouble with the liao when I first got to Thailand, and lao too. So when you struggle with a word like this, it's like it's only one syllable. So how hard can it be? You got to break it down into components. First, can you say the a vowel? And then throw an L on it. La. And then can you throw a W at the end? You can, because all you do is you round your mouth. Lao. So we're already most of the way there.
Like ooh.
So if you can round your mouth, you can say the W at the end. Lao. And then it's a high tone. So high tone is high. And a high tone in Thai starts just outside of your comfort zone and goes up a niche more.
Like doing soprano, maybe?
You're not quite singing, but like when your normal comfortable tone of voice, like here, a good example is to compare the rising tone. Rising goes from like the bottom of your comfort zone to the top of your comfort zone, whereas high kind of starts at the top of your comfort zone and just goes right out of it. Lao. Does that help?
Lao. Do you think like your tone and my tone are different, Brett? Like you're a male speaker and I'm a female speaker. Do you think when I say lao and you're lao, it's like different pitch?
A little bit, yeah, because our vocal range is different.
Right.
So
yeah,
tones are not based on like a set frequency. They're based on your comfort zone for whatever happens when you're normally talking. So when you're first learning, people have a tendency to kind of force it. So like over the years, I've had a lot of friends who made a half-assed attempt to learn Thai, and they always kind of seize, like they tense up, and their voice gets way higher pitched than they normally talk. But ultimately, you want to be able to talk in the language in your normal tone of voice, like your comfort zone.
Right.
You can't, like, you might start out and you'll be like, "Lao," like trying to get really high, but it's just like what's your comfort zone? La, lao. Like when Sarah says lao, it's going to be a higher pitch.
Yeah, like I'm doing soprano. Lao.
Right. Well, it's not that high for you.
I'm exaggerating. I usually say lao.
Yeah.
Lao. Kin lao. Kin lao. Kin lao.
How about
it depends
on mid-tone and low tone? I know people tend to have a trouble with mid-tone and low tone. I remember that being a problem for me for a long time. I figured I could, for the first, I felt like the first 6 months, I could never tell the difference between middle and low. So what I had to do is I just had to know what that word tones was supposed to be, and then gradually kind of keep trying to self-correct until I felt like I had figured out what was happening. So for low tone, the sound has to kind of reverberate in your chest. So like if you're saying like, you gotta be like low. You gotta say like you're depressed and your life is over.
Like, I remember that. You said my Thai nickname sounds depressed. Sounds depressing. Yeah. I remember that part.
Fine. I give up.
Like that. Like, yeah, right. It's like, yeah. Okay. I think that's it. That's all we have for today. No more questions. You want to add anything, Brett? Do you have anything to tell them? I mean, your course.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, I mean, in case anyone doesn't know, my website is Learn Thai from a White Guy. I have tons of free content on my site, and I also have a paid, like a paid program, which currently has 4 courses. And it basically takes you from either 0 or whatever you know up into kind of covering all the core skills, so you understand all the sounds that we've talked about. You can read the script. You know the tone rules. Like you can determine how to figure out what the tone of a word is, which is extremely important in Thai. It does take a little bit of work, but you can learn it in like 10 hours, and you can master it by just practicing it 5 minutes a day for a month or 2. And then eventually, just like anything else, it will become automatic, and all the rules and stuff that you had to look at will fall away, and then you can focus on the fun stuff. And then after that course, I have a couple sentence-based courses which cover very common phrases. Basically, anything in my paid program is something you can use immediately once you look at it, because I only include stuff that you can use every single day when possible. Sometimes I have to explain something that requires an example that's less common, but the 90% of the content in my program is things you can say or hear Thai people say every single day, because the way I learn languages is I get comfortable with the sounds as long as it takes. And then I learn how to say really short, high frequency sentences. So for Thai, that's like pai nai ma, kin khao li yang, tham alai yu, stuff like that. Something you can shoot off a million times every day, with the goal being to say it as close to good pronunciation as you possibly can early on. Because once you can say 20, 30, 40, 50 short sentences in any language with good pronunciation, if someone comes up to a Thai person and says pai nai, they don't know you don't know anything else. So they're going to give you a real answer. But if you go up and you say like pai nai, like something that like they know you don't speak anything at all, based on the fact that you're not even close to tones, you're saying the consonant wrong, you're saying the vowel wrong, which is what most people do in Thailand. Like when I hear other foreigners speak Thai, okay, these days there are plenty of foreigners who speak really good Thai, but there are still a whole lot that do not. And there's plenty of people who have been here many years, and their Thai pronunciation is like, if I try to imagine what it would be like someone speaking English like they're speaking Thai, and it would be horrifying. It's just Thai people are too nice. They're too nice to tell you how bad it is.
No, I'm not.
Would you agree with that, Sarah?
pretty honest when it comes to like.
You're not. Well, you're
ask
special.
me.
But like the average Thai person is not going to tell you. Is not going to tell their like the average Thai girl is not going to tell their boyfriend how terrible they sound. Am I correct?
Yes,
I'm not saying anything mean. It's just they're too nice.
Totally. I told my exes that their Thai were like horrible. Yeah.
Right. Anyways, if anybody's interested in my program, the link's right there. Use the coupon code Tricky to get 25% off. If you're in my paid program, you can email me questions whenever you'd like, and I'm pretty responsive. And if you really want to learn to speak Thai, my program works very well. I've taught many thousands of people to speak Thai, and it's I don't make you like learn a list of like fruits because that's stupid. I make you learn the sounds. I make you learn sentences you can say immediately, and then once you have 50 sentences and you can read the script, you can do whatever the hell you want in the language. It'll still take effort and like it'll still take time, but you can start talking to people right away. Just imagine saying it like the sentence and it doesn't sound horrible. Like you don't, and you build part of it is you want to build up confidence in these very everyday sentences. So you can go to the cafe and you can test it out on the barista because you talk to them already. Like I every day I go to the cafe and people come like, oh, you're like Brett from Tapaweka, and then they're embarrassed when they go and order from because I'm sitting right there and they know they're saying it wrong. And I'm like, look, it's like you have to know what the sentence is first. And then you have to practice saying it on your own a few times until you can get comfortable saying it out loud. And then you go try it out. And when you try it out and it works, you'll feel really good. And that'll make you remember it. Awesome. If you try it out and it's wrong and you're really embarrassed, you'll remember it forever because you'll be horrified. So that strong emotional connection will make you remember things. Serious.
I mean, you
can make the balance of the one working versus being horribly embarrassed by practicing more on your own.
Right, I have a question. What's wrong with teaching fruit? I never taught fruit on my channel, thank God.
Well, everyone's only going to eat a certain amount of types of fruit, and they're going to like some and they're not going to like some. But they don't need to talk about every fruit in existence. There are fruits and vegetables in Thailand that I don't know the name of this stuff in English. I don't care what it's called if I don't eat it and I never see it. Sometimes I'll be with a Thai person and they'll be like, you know what tree that is? And I'm like, no. Like if you're interested in it, great, go learn it. If you really want to know every fruit, go ahead and learn it. But don't feel an obligation to learn all these words that some Thai teacher tells you they think you're supposed to know. You can have a very fluent, full conversation without using like a lot of words in the beginning. So when I learn a language, I don't know the colors. Sometimes if they have a weird number system, I don't even learn all the numbers. I will be talking to people and then someone will be like, and I'll need to say 13 or something. I remember when I was doing Russian, I was doing an experiment with Russian and I'd been studying Russian for just a few days and I started going on italki and my Russian sucks, but it was an experiment to see if I could have basic conversations without knowing a lot of this stuff. And it totally works. And they're like, how long have you been studying Russian? Like, but I couldn't say 13 days because I didn't know how to say 13 at the time. And they're just like, that doesn't make any sense that you can talk this much. And I'm like, well, it does if you spend your time on actual sentences and not lists of words.
Yeah, I wouldn't teach like days or like months in Thai.
I didn't know the months in Thai until like the end of the first year. I just got a calendar and I learned 1 month every month. Every day I'd look at the calendar and I'd write out the word for the month.
That's more doable too. And I already have
so lazy with that first year.
For days and months already. I have free videos on my channel so people can check those out. Because I feel like those are like
for things like that, it's useful to write them out. So like what I would do is I would write out the day and the month every day in my notepad. So that by the end of that month, I had written the month 30 times and I'd written the days a few times. So by the end of, it was less than a year before I could write all the months and days and remember how to spell them.
JF Junior F said, my fear is that I would say something right in Thai and then afterward I'll get a response that I wonder.
Of course this will happen, but it's okay. But the alternative is to say something wrong and then them never say anything and you never get better. So it's okay if you have like a lot of times the sentences you practice in the beginning will have a finite number of answers. So if you go off and shoot it off by night, and you ask that to 100 people, how many places could they be going? And if the answer is by, and then you don't understand the second word, you can still smile and pretend like you understood and then walk away.
Or you can just ask them what I mean. right? You can ask them
Or
what
yeah,
they
if you,
mean.
if you really don't know, you could ask, if you heard, try to repeat the word and be like, Tanakan Kualai. Like, what is Tanakan?
Tanakan's bank.
But like a lot of times, I mean,
use
think about what can you say today. If you're in Thailand and you're trying to learn Thai, don't practice things you might say someday in the future. Master the things you can say today and get really confident about saying these basic phrases. People think, oh, I know that already, I don't want to do it. But if your pronunciation still sucks and you're not confident, it requires more effort. What will happen is if you build up confidence in this small space, you'll become like the master of ordering coffee. And then suddenly be like, geez, I order the same thing every single day. Maybe it's time to order something new. And then there's that kind of fear again, like, oh, am I going to say latte correct?
Latte.
And you just gradually inch out. Occasionally change what you do and change who you talk to, or try. Sometimes you'll say one phrase to a person and then say it to someone else and you'll get a different answer. And that's okay. It's fine to not understand the answer the first time. But what you can do now is, the fact that they answered your question means you said something right. So you're going to get that kind of nice feeling that gives you a little bit of power to keep going. Whereas if you say something and they don't understand you at all, you get the negative feeling. And the more negative times you get that negative feedback, the more you're going to want to quit. So what I want to do is I want to create like a positive environment, which is hard. It's easier in Thailand than some countries because Thai people are very forgiving. But but the best feeling for me anyways is that when I say something that I've been practicing and it works.
Well,
when that happens, when it works, I'm exponentially more likely to remember it.
What is this?
I'm doing Vietnamese right now, and I do 4 sessions a week for 30 minutes and they're teachers and they're trying to teach me stuff, but I always try to take control in the beginning and I want to tell them what I've been doing. So like today I woke up at this time and I went to the park and I exercised for about 90 minutes. And then I went up hiking on the mountain with my friend. And then we got lost in the jungle and I got bit by a mosquito. Like I'm just stringing together a bunch of basic sentences that I've practiced like an hour or two before the session. And I just try to dominate the first 2 minutes of the talk just to say all this stuff out loud. And if they understand and my pronunciation isn't terrible, I will remember most of what I've just said. Not all of it, but maybe 80%, which is enough.
I have a question. Do you teach structures in your course or just like patterns? Or are they the same?
Difference?
Yeah, they're the same, right? Like
Well,
you need to know.
Well, okay, a sentence pattern. I mean, the way I explain a sentence pattern is like, remember we did a video about this where we said like, my kai tao lai.
Yeah,
so that's right. So that's a sentence pattern. So what I do is I give that, and then maybe variations, and then a bunch of examples that either I use every day or hear every day. So, and presumably you'll be able to use every day, because my life is pretty boring. But I mean, I'm sure most of the things I do, other people do on a regular basis. Like I sit at cafes a lot. I watch movies a lot. You run into people you know, and everyone asks the same kind of questions. Wow, it's really hot today. What are you doing here? Where are you going next? Stuff like that.
Yeah, because some people said they don't need to get too structured. They just need to like keep talking. I just try to understand how that works, how that would work.
Yeah, it doesn't work, because if you don't have any, like if you have a list of words and maybe you've seen 1 or 2 example sentences, it's not enough, because what you're going to be trying to do is craft your own sentence, and you're thinking and you're trying to pull these words together, and everything you say is going to be unnatural. Whereas what I try to do in the beginning is build up a pile of short sentences, like phrases, that I can eventually start stringing together as I get more confident.
Yeah,
Thai isn't like, a lot of language, especially a lot of Asian languages, you can kind of segment them out into phrases. And a lot of times a phrase is a sentence. And what you can do is just start connecting them together as you learn how to connect them. Like with lao or lao ka, or just using particles to fill the pause.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, and you like, without knowing what the particle means, you just kind of want to add these onto your sentences whenever you learn them, and just start to those are things you start, they're hard to kind of intellectualize. You just want to get a feel for them over time. Even it's very hard to define, because most of them have multiple uses. Okay, guys,
so that's about it. I think it's almost an hour now. So we were planning for 30 minutes, but yeah, as I expected always. So because you guys have good questions, so we want to address them all. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being here, Brett. So check out his course, guys, if you want to, get into Thai script, especially too, because his course is all about Thai script. He doesn't do transliteration like I do.
Yeah. Well, it's not all about Thai script. Like one part of my program is about the script, but it's also fast. You can learn it all, and you can literally learn everything about the Thai script you need to know in less than 2 weeks. If you spend like 45 minutes to an hour a day, you can learn it all within 2 weeks, and you can master it within maybe 6 weeks if you keep practicing a few minutes a day for a month after you finish getting through the first course. It does take work, but it will make everything else you ever do in Thai so much easier. Like these things that I'm talking about, they're not hard. They're just something you have to sit down and practice for 5 minutes, 10 times to get. You don't have to sit down for an hour and be like, like you don't have to do that. But if you do that for like a couple minutes twice a day for a week, you'll be able to say the sound correctly. And then within a very short time after that, you'll master it. Just keep doing it. It gets easier every time you do it. It just doesn't feel it. It just feels like you're never going to get it the first couple times you try.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
everybody.
Thank you so much for being here, Brett, and thank you guys for watching. I'll be live streaming for my live Q&A on Monday, 9:30. If you guys want to join, I have 5 questions up already. So see you guys on Monday at 9:30. But Brett's not gonna be here, just me talking. So thank you very much. Someone asked about แบบว่า you wanna talk about that real quick?
เหมือนแบบว่า is actually super useful. It's sort of like a filler. It's like in English when you're saying, it's like this, it's like that. เหมือนแบบว่า it's a filler. It's kind of like when we say like in English, in American English.
It's like.
Bab actually means like type, but it doesn't really translate.
Let's give them an example.
Like if you're trying to search for a way to explain something.
No, let's talk in Thai. I want to give them example. Brett วันนี้แบบร้อนไหมอ่ะ
ร้อนเหรอรู้สึกแบบว่ายังไงดีอ่ะ ไม่รู้จะพูดอะไรอ่ะ
จะพูดอะไรแบบวันนี้
it's like when you're searching for a way to explain something. So it's actually really useful for learners for this phrase, and I remember using this a lot in my early years. Once I picked up on it, I was like, "Oh, this is great!" Because when you don't know what to say, you can just keep saying "bap bap 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 bap" over and over again. You can't say it too long, but you can throw out a few of them. Like, like if you're trying to describe, like, and you don't know the words, or you're trying to search for them. มันร้อนแบบว่า like it's hot, like like you're gonna or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Jonas, for being here. He said thanks again, and Joshua said that his cousin was being nice because she didn't correct his Thai or yeah.
They'll always be nice
with us, with you, when you said Thai people are so nice.
One last thought, like when you first try to say your first time you try to speak anything in Thailand, in Thai, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, gang,พูด Thai เก่ง." Everyone will applaud you the moment you open your mouth, regardless of what it sounds like. So if someone's saying you "พูด Thai เก่ง," that means you're not good yet. It was very humbling for me to figure that out because I thought my Thai was so great. Like the first month of Thailand, I was translating for people. I was terrible, but I knew slightly more than people who. Everyone was telling me how gang I was all the time. It took a while for me to realize that wasn't true at all.
No, I think if you're really good, the way we talk to you, we're gonna talk like at natural speed, and we're gonna do like full on slang. That proves that you're like fluent. The same with English too. When I talk to people, the first few sentences, they will do like simple sentences until they realize that I'm fluent in English. They would just talk like full on English to me.
Like a normal person, instead of treating you like a monkey just walked up to you and started talking.
Yeah, I mean, what? What's that?
Well, that's how I mean, there was a long period of time in my early years where I felt like I was pretty fluent, but I'd still have to go through that process of like, you try to go up and talk to someone, or you go into the bank, or you go in here and try to do something. And there's this whole process of like, you know, they throw confetti and balloons up, like, oh, he speaks Thai, like, yay. And like parades come through, and I'm just there to like open a bank account or something. And like, it was kind of great at first, but then I started to get like frustrated because I was just trying to do something simple, and I didn't want it to bring all this attention on myself. I'm like, but eventually that became less frequent as I got better. I mean, I think the more natural I started to sound, the less I had to deal with this type of stuff.
But I cannot stress enough, guys, for the correct pronunciation, because when you talk with like a super big accent, we're not gonna talk like in depth with you. We're not gonna go into a deep conversation with you. Like you like Pai Hong
we
Nam.
know if you don't Harnam you
I'm gonna try to make sure that I use like the simple words to make sure you understand.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how fluent you are. If you have like wrong pronunciation, if your tone is
we know
off,
you suck if your pronunciation is that bad.
No, come on,
very rare exceptions.
Yeah.
I've only met. I mean, how many people have you ever met? I think I've met maybe 2 people in 17 years in Thailand that can't read the script that spoke Thai quite fluently.
Yes, you, Ian,
Kwan. But I can read the script. I'm talking about people who can't read the script.
5 people?
And generally
5 people,
right.
I would say. Yeah.
Wait, what are you saying? That speak Thai well or what?
Speak Thai well and read Thai script. Yeah, like
right.
I couldn't tell if I turn away turn my back. I wouldn't know.
I can tell if they can read or not based on their pronunciation. I think probably with the higher doctors.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, one of my friends, Ian, he never got into Thai reading or writing, but he's so fluent. You wouldn't be able to tell. I put money on it. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell.
And he can say all the sounds good?
What's that?
And he can say all the sounds correctly?
Yeah, he can say the sound correctly, like just perfect. It's just
it's not impossible. I just think it's easier to just learn the script.
Yeah, it's like very few people who can do that. I don't recommend like that approach. But because he was here for like 4 or 5 years and he was studying at like one university in Bangkok, and he just picked up a lot of slang and he just started like Thai, honestly. But now I think he lost a lot of Thai because he went back to Canada, so he didn't get to use like to speak Thai.
People in Canada.
I mean, his wife is Thai. His wife's also my friend. But
really?
he would rather have her speak English instead of him practicing Thai, because they're both in Canada, right? Anyways, that's about it, guys. Thank you so much, Brett, for being here. If you guys have any questions at all, just leave a comment below and sign up. If you want to sign up for his course, he has the code for you guys here. I'm gonna put it in the description later, and the code is right here if you're interested. And join my live stream, my solo live stream on Monday too at 9:30 p.m. Thailand time. All right, so have a lovely evening. What is it? What day is it today? Have a lovely Saturday. Okay. Bye bye. สวัสดีค่ะ Bye guys.